Doing market research on Reddit is extremely valuable, but unfortunately, it often takes forever, which is why in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you an AI agent that I built for you that monitors Reddit and sends you a weekly insights report about the specific market trends or search terms that you want to monitor so that you can stay ahead of the trends and optimize your marketing campaigns accordingly. And don't worry, you don't need to be a coder. I'm going to walk you through step by step through the whole process. And I'm also giving away this entire workflow for free, and that link will be in the comments, so you can just click there and tell me where I can send it to you. All right, so let's dive right in. I want to first show you the final output of what you could expect to receive once you set it up, and it's really cool because it'll scrape Reddit and it'll look for the search terms that you ask it to look for. It will only bring back the ones with a relevant number of upvotes, and it will tell you which subreddit it found your search term in. It'll use AI to summarize that entire post, and it'll also allow you to just click on view post so that you can go directly to that specific Reddit post. So if you like the summary and it piques your interest, if you like the number of upvotes and the subreddit, you could click it and view it directly, and it does it for basically the previous week of search results. So you could see how it would take a marketing assistant hours and hours to do this, right? So now you could set it up once and you receive this every single week or daily if you even want. So I'll show you how to set that up. I'll also show you how to customize this table so that you can maybe add columns to it, maybe summarize it in a different way. Whatever your use case is, I'll show you how to update it. All right, so let's get started and jump right into n8n. If this is your first time seeing it, there is a link in the description for you to download n8n. And of course, as I mentioned earlier, I can send you this entire workflow for free. In this part of the video, I want to show you step by step what each trigger does so that you can understand it at a high level. And then afterwards, we're gonna go back and I'm gonna show you basically how to customize each and every part that needs customizing. But right now, I'm just gonna go do a brief overview so that you can understand how this works at a high level. All right, so as always, we begin with the trigger of the entire workflow. As you may or may not know, every n8n workflow requires a trigger, which tells the workflow when to actually begin. And the second node here is the Reddit node. And what it's doing is that it's searching all of Reddit for whatever keyword you give it to search. And specifically, it's only searching for the posts. It's not searching for the comments or anything else. It's looking for keywords inside of each post. Once it finds those keywords, it's returning all of the posts associated with those keywords. So now the if node, what the if node does is it filters out all that data that we got from Reddit, because yes, even though we made a search query based off of a keyword, we're gonna get all this data back, but we don't want all that data. We only want the relevant data. So the two conditions that we're filtering here are whether that post has 5 or more upvotes, because we know on Reddit it's hard to get upvotes, it's hard to get traction, there's a lot of garbage on there. So it's only going to return the posts with 5 or more upvotes, and also it's going to only return the posts that have been posted the last 7 days. So only those posts are going to make it through the rest of this workflow. All right, jumping to the set node now. Basically all the set node does is it reorganizes the data that comes from the previous nodes into something that we're going to use in the future. And we need to do that because when we make an API call from Reddit, we get back a bunch of information that we may or may not need. So the set node allows us to essentially reorganize that and also add some transformations to that data. Yeah, it's a little bit more on the advanced side, but that's what it does. All right, and now we're getting into the fun part of this workflow, because we will now be discussing the OpenAI node. And what the OpenAI node is doing in this particular case is it's looking at the content of the post that it returned, the post that fit all that criteria from our if node. And then it's looking at that content and it's running an LLM prompt through it. And that LLM prompt is basically asking, is the content of this post related to the keyword that we search for, more or less? I'll show you in the next part, like the specific prompt, because you're going to have to customize it for yourself. But basically the reason we have to run that is because just because it returned a specific keyword, it doesn't mean that the post is about that keyword. Maybe somebody just briefly mentioned that particular keyword and it's not really relevant. It's not really what the post is about. So we need to run a prompt that filters that all those posts that are not necessarily relevant. So we don't want that information. However, the OpenAI node does not directly filter out the previous information. It essentially what it does is it just returns a yes or a no based off of the LLM prompt that it ran. So if it's relevant to the keyword, to the keyword that we're searching, it'll return yes. If not, it'll return no. And then we have to merge that data because now we have a new column of data with the yeses and the nos. We have to merge that through this merge node to the original data that we're passing through. And by the way, when I say table of data and columns and information passing through, technically it's JSON, which is JavaScript object notation, and n8n also uses the term items that it's passing through. But my goal on this channel is to speak to marketers, so I want to make this information easy to understand, and I conceptualize it as tables because it's a lot easier to wrap your head around it that way. Oh, and this would be a good time to mention also that if you're a marketer or part of a marketing team, or you run marketing projects and you want to thrive in the age of AI, I'd love to invite you to subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. And I think you'd also find the content that I'm going to be releasing very, very valuable as well. So hit that like button and subscribe, of course. All right, so let's move on. And this next section here of nodes, it looks very familiar, right? It's very similar to this section of nodes here. And basically we're doing another if statement where we're going to filter out specific information. And the information that we're filtering out here is basically everywhere where the LLM said, no, the content of this post is not related to the keyword that we're interested in. Anytime the LLM said that, we're going to filter out those posts. So we're only going to see the posts where the LLM said, yes, this post is specifically about the keyword that we're searching for. So that's how we are making sure that we're getting back high quality data. And now that we have only the data that we want, which met all of this criteria here, we can now run another OpenAI node, basically another LLM prompt that summarizes the content of the post. Because of course we don't just want the raw data of what that post is. We want to utilize an LLM to summarize it for us so that we can have a concise 1 or 2 sentence summary that we can just quickly read and sift through. And that's what this OpenAI node does. And now that we have that summary, we're going to have to merge that data to the table of data that we're passing through, aka JSON. And we do it with the merge node, similar to how we did it before with the first merge node. And then at the very end, what we're doing is we are reorganizing that data. We're basically only taking out the information that we're going to be using in our final table, because now we've added a few things and we don't need it. So we're basically the set node is basically tidying it up and basically deciding which information is going to pass on. So you can think about it that way. All right. And finally, our last 2 nodes here, very straightforward. The code node is what it is. It's basically taking this data that we've been passing through, which, like I said before, it's technically JSON data, and it's transforming it into HTML. And the reason why we need HTML is because when we pass it over to Gmail, Gmail renders the table through HTML. So you can't just give it a JSON and expect it to generate that nice table that I showed you in the beginning. It has to go through a transformation where it generates HTML. And that's what this code node does. So the good news is that I wrote all the code for you. You don't have to worry about it. But we're going to jump into the customization part soon. And as a little bit of a preview, if you want to update, if you want different aspects of the table to be visible or to generate, you will need to update this code, but you can use an LLM to do it. So yeah, it's very, very simple, and I'll show you in a minute how to do that. All right, so now we're gonna move into the final part of this video, which is the customizations. So I went over the entire workflow, how it worked from node to node, and now I'm gonna show you exactly what you need to do in order to customize this to your specific use case. All right, so I've identified 4 parts of this workflow where you absolutely have to customize in order for this workflow to work for you. And there's also an optional 5th one that you can also update depending on what you want the final table to look like and the information you want in there. But the ones that you absolutely have to update are these 4: the schedule trigger, the Reddit keyword search term inside of the Reddit node, the classify node inside of the OpenAI node, and the Gmail node over here. So you gotta either set those integrations or update those nodes, and I'm gonna show you right now how to do that. All right, so the first customization is a schedule trigger. So you click into the node, you double click, and then you'll be able to see when exactly you want the trigger to go off. Right now, though, I have it set up to be 8 a.m. on a Monday, and you can click through here and see what your options are for intervals. However, in order to maintain the most control over the time here, I recommend that you use cron. And if you don't know, cron is basically the way you can think about it like a language that allows machines to be able to tell time. That's a very kind of simple but easy explanation. And the first number represents second, the second one minute, etc. However, I don't recommend you learning any of this. Just copy and paste this, go into ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini or Grok or whatever LLM of your choice, and ask it, convert this cron into whatever date and time you want, or time frame of the week, or it's a really flexible quote unquote language. It's not technically a language, but it's a very flexible way to express time. And yeah, you can, whatever works for you, you could input it here and then go back. Also, make sure to save anytime you make any change here on n8n. I've seen a lot of people build workflows and forget to save and then lose it all. I think it happened to me one time as well. I forgot to save. So make sure to save anytime you make any changes. All right, and now we're jumping into the Reddit keyword search term setup. So first you double click into the Reddit node. And if this is your first time opening an n8n Reddit node, it'll ask you to create an API key, or at least set up your API key. So you'll be able to click on like a little button here, and it'll ask you to input the Reddit API key. Now, where do you get a Reddit API key? You get it directly from Reddit. So you can quickly either ChatGPT how to get a Reddit API key, or dare I say Google how to get a Reddit API key. You'll get one for free in just a few minutes, and you'll plug it in here. And now your n8n account is forever integrated with that API key, and you'll be able to use Reddit nodes really easily. So once you set that up, you're gonna see that here we're gonna do a research. We're gonna look for posts as a resource that we're returning. The operation that we're running is a search, and the location is all Reddit here. So here's where you're gonna input your keyword, whatever keyword you wanna search for. I'm interested in n8n because it's what I use. So that's a term that I'm staying in the loop on. And that's something that I always want to know the latest trends about what's going on and all the greatest use cases, so that I can build workflows for myself and my clients. And then this is going to be checked, or this toggle is going to be on, which is going to be return all. And we're going to sort by new as well. So this stuff doesn't matter. All you need to edit, if you're downloading my template, all you're going to need to edit is this keyword. And just in case it asks you to like reset up everything again, just make sure to follow all these steps here: post, search, all Reddit, return all, and sort by new. Just because we're looking at like the newest posts, and it's going to be easier to retrieve the most relevant stuff that way. And yep, that's the Reddit node. All right, so now let's talk about the classify node here. So you double click into the classify node, and then similar to the Reddit node, it will ask you to give it your credentials for OpenAI, which is your OpenAI API key. It's very straightforward to get an OpenAI API key. you basically have to go to a website called platform.openai.com, and then it'll ask you to log in using your Gmail or whatever account you want to set up, and then you'll be met with this panel here where you can go to API key, and you'll be able to create a new secret API key here. It might ask you to set up your billing first. So you'll go to billing and you can deposit like, a couple dollars. I think maybe $5 is the minimum. I'm not sure. But that $5 goes a really, really long way if you use the right models, the cheaper models. And I'll show you in a second which ones I recommend. But yeah, if you're wondering why aren't we using DeepSeek or another local model, or it's because setting up a local model is a little on the trickier side. And yes, there are other services out there like Grok that host open source models, and they're cheaper, etc. And some have like free tiers. But I rather teach my audience to use OpenAI, Anthropic, and Google because I believe that these models are still going to be the best for a long time, and they're also still innovating. So you want to develop that ability to work with these models. So once you have that set up, you grabbed your API key, you're good to go there. Now you go back here, you set up that credential, you just click on a little button here and you give it that API key that you just pulled, and you choose text as the resource drop down here if it's not there already. You choose message a model as this drop down for operation. And then this part is actually very important. You have to choose the model that you want OpenAI to basically give you access to when you make this API call. And in order to see what models are available, all you have to do is Google OpenAI models, and you'll be greeted with like a screen here that goes through all the models. For this project, I chose a reasoning model just because there is a fast and affordable reasoning model called O4 Mini. So I click through here, and up here you can see, you'll be able to see like which is like the default. You can just copy that and then enter that inside of the node where it asks for model. If you're curious, you can also take a look at the other models that are available for like different use cases or different purposes. Some are cheaper, some are more expensive. So it's up to you to decide which one is right for you. For this project, I like reasoning models, so I went with that one. All right, so now you just copy and paste there, whichever model you chose. This is the reason why I showed you this step, even though it's a little technical, is because this might change depending on when you watch this video. The model might change, right? This one might be deprecated and no longer available. So you have to be you basically have to have the ability to go find the model that you want and paste it here. So that's why I showed you that. And then the next part is the prompt. So if you click on this little arrow here, you can open this up, and you can see the exact prompt that we're running here. It says, decide whether a Reddit post is about n8n.io, a workflow automation low-code tool that can be self-hosted or not. And then there is this -n, which just means new line, Reddit post. And then there's this variable here called json.self-text trimmed. And then at the end here, it asks about n8n, yes or no. And then it'll return a yes or no, okay? So that's the LLM prompt. There's actually a better way to do this, but this is based off of a template that I've used that I saw like a really long time ago and that I've used, and it still works just fine. So we don't need to overcomplicate it. But for your case, depending on what the keyword search that you're looking for, you do want to obviously change this up, right? So decide whether a Reddit post is about whatever your keyword search term is, and you can give it a little bit more specific context as well about that search term. And then, yeah, do not touch this at all, because obviously if we're not passing this variable through the workflow, it's not going to work, because this variable represents the post that we pulled from Reddit. So we don't want to touch that. And obviously we do want to replace this n8n with whatever search term you're looking for. So yeah, I'm sure you're smart enough to look at this and say and know which parts you're going to have to update for yourself. Just know that you're going to have to update this, because if you don't update this, obviously it doesn't matter if you update the search term in the Reddit node. You also have to update the prompt that we're running here. So this is how you update the classify the OpenAI classify node that we're using. All right, so now for the Gmail node, basically what we had to do here before jumping into the Gmail node, and what I recommend you to do first before touching the Gmail node, is I want you to hit test workflow. I already did it, and the reason why you want to hit test workflow is because once you go into the nodes after you test a workflow, assuming that the workflow gets that node and you didn't have any errors prior to that node, you'll basically see what the input data for that node is on the left side here. And this is really important in order for you to conceptualize what's happening in this workflow. Specifically for this particular node, it's nice to know, but for the others, you don't really need to know, and that's why I didn't get into it. But for this one, the reason why you want to know is because there is a part here called subject, which is the subject of the email. And there's like a variable here called json.subject. And basically what this is, it's this column of data that you're dragging into this subject line. Okay, so the code node generated our HTML table, like I said in the last section, and a subject line. So all we have to do is we need to drag this column name basically into this node, json.subject. Okay, and you'll know it worked because it'll turn green. And if we didn't run the test workflow, we wouldn't see it turn green. So it's harder to really wrap our heads around it. And I wanted to show you because if you set up your own Gmail account here, which is very easy, by the way, once you open up the Gmail node, it's going to ask you to integrate with Gmail. You click in here and you basically log into your Gmail account, just like how you would use Gmail to log into anything else. And it's very, very quickly and easily done. So again, you set it up once and your n8n account now has it for any other workflow that you want to set up. So I wanted to show you this input because if it didn't already generate this subject for you, this variable for you, then now you can do it yourself. You can just drag this column basically into this section here called subject. And now the subject Reddit n8n post summary will be the subject of that email, okay, this variable. So also you see here json.html table, same thing here. You're gonna drag this HTML table into your message, okay? And then this is optional here, but I like to add a little paragraph saying when this was generated. It is a little redundant because there is the email sent date. But you know, it's always interesting to add this stuff. So there's a variable called now here, which is all you have to do is the bracket or the squiggly bracket $ now squiggly bracket exactly how it is now. It is here, and it'll tell you basically like the time now. Okay, so it's for more clear dating of the content, right? So, and then for this part generated on now, this is just a variable that you can use or you don't have to use. It's a little redundant. This variable here is just for the time that is now. So it'll tell you exactly when it generated this information. So this isn't that important, but you can throw it in there if you'd like. All right, and last but not least, there's a code node. And of course, this one is, like I said, optional. You don't have to edit this. If you like the table that I showed you in the beginning, then you're done. You don't have to do anything else. But I wanted to show you how this code node worked here, just in case you ever wanted to make changes to this. So as you can see, basically, we take the input of of whatever data we want here, and we run some code, some JavaScript in this case, to basically create this HTML table, okay? So I'm not gonna go through line by line, but just know that it creates a table and it returns the subject as well with the specific date that it created this information at, right? So it returns a table and it returns a subject line that we're gonna use for the email. So if you want different columns, if you want different types of data, right now the table is set to show us the name of the subreddit that it found the post from, the date that post was written, the number of upvotes of that post, and the summary and the link, right? And all these variables are attached to those different parts of the table. And remember, just like the previous section, I showed you how to drag that information to the node, right? So here you can see that json.subreddit is part of this information here, like here, right? So you can drag this to this section, and it will appear as part of the table. Okay, so again, you could, if you want it in a different order, if you want to make any updates, you can. What I would do is, instead of reading it line by line and writing it line by line, in case you don't know JavaScript, or maybe you're better at Python like me, whatever the case may be, you can just copy it, put it into your favorite LLM, and ask it to make the updates accordingly, right? And the LLM will understand what it's trying to do. Just tell it that you're using n8n, because the LLMs understand n8n and what it tries to do. It's trained on n8n, and you can just easily say like, hey, I'm using a code node inside of n8n, and I want to make the following update to this JavaScript. And then you paste this and you tell it whatever update you want to make, right? And then you come back in here and you paste it, and then you test the workflow to make sure that it actually runs and everything works the way you expect. All right, so that's how you make whatever table you want in your Gmail, and that is the code node. All right, I wanted to offer one last bonus tip for those who made it this far. Thank you, by the way. That bonus tip is that you don't have to necessarily use Gmail as your destination for this data. You could use something like Slack, for example. Slack is a popular option. If you add a node here, you can look for Slack. You click Slack, and you can choose send a message here. And you integrate your Slack account, very similar to how you integrate your Gmail account. You choose message as a resource. You choose send as an operation. And then you add that data into your message text. Okay, so you can do that. And the way you do that is by connecting the previous node to Slack. And then you'll see here, right, like this HTML table information on the subject. So you can add, like, let's say the subject here as like the title of this Slack message. And then you can pass on the HTML table, okay? So after you set that up, you can send this information to Slack. Caveat here is that depending on your Slack settings or how you want to visualize the data in Slack, this HTML table might not be the best for you to use inside of Slack. So if that's the case, after you tested it and you don't like the output, you're going to have to update this code section. And remember, this code section returns an HTML table, right? So all you would have to do is whatever format is that you like inside of Slack, maybe it's Markdown format. You'll have to basically copy and paste this into your favorite LLM, and then ask it to, instead of returning an HTML table, you want to return Markdown format with that same exact data. So that would be the transformation that you would make inside of the LLM, and then it'll give you the JavaScript, and you would update it in here and just replace it. And then you would send it to Slack in the same exact way that we sent it to Gmail. So that was a little bit of an advanced tip, but I hope you can see the power of n8n and how flexible it really is. And there you go. You set it up, and now you can move on and gain the benefits of this workflow for as long as you have it active. Speaking of having it active, don't forget to set it to active in order for this to work. If you don't set it to active, it's not going to work. So yeah, make sure to go up here, toggle active, and now it's going to be live. And you're going to want to do that after you test a workflow to make sure that it works, obviously. All right, that was the video. Thank you for stopping by. If you have any questions whatsoever or want to offer any type of feedback, leave a comment down below and I'll make sure to read it. And if you haven't already, make sure to grab that free template in the description so that you can have this really cool workflow for yourself. So thank you, and I'll see you in the next video. In the meantime, feel free to check out another video on the channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. I look forward to seeing you next time.